How do you get off a driving ban? Let me count the ways. Well, there are two sort of primary ways. There's what we call special reasons and exceptional hardship. And I'll deal with exceptional hardship first. Okay, let's say you have points on your licence and you manage to accumulate 12 points within 3 years. The way points work is they stay actually on your licence for 4 years, but they only actually count for 3 years. But if you get 12 points within a 3-year period, then you become what we call a totter, because they tot up your points. And the court has to give you a minimum 6-month driving ban. The good news is, if you do get a driving ban, all your points are actually wiped from your licence. But you might not want that. You might say, well, it's a bit inconvenient not being able to drive for 6 months. So what can I do? Well, you can run something called exceptional hardship. And what you have to show is that not being able to drive would cause you exceptional hardship. But the key word here is exceptional. The mere fact it's massively inconvenient, you know, you've got to get the bus to work, you've got to get somebody to pick the kids up from school, that's just a natural consequence of losing your licence. So it doesn't count as exceptional. So what do you have to do? The best way, and this is like practical advice, this isn't, you know, black letter law, it's usually better to imply that it's going to have a negative effect on innocent third parties. So, you know, if you're caring for somebody, you know, you've got an elderly relative, or you've got children with special needs or something like that, and you need to run them around or you need to be available, also helps. I mean, I'm down in Cornwall. We actually do succeed quite a lot on exceptional hardship because of just the state of the public transport down here. There just isn't, like, you know, a lot of it. But that's the sort of thing you have to show. And how do you do that? Well, you go along to court, you plead guilty to the points, because you say, well, look, I have to accept I've got the points. I mean, obviously, go not guilty, that's a completely different case. But if you accept that the points are owing, you know, you've gone through a speed camera, then you go along to court. Don't do the single justice procedure thing. I mean, you can plead guilty by single justice procedure. However, if they are considering a ban, then they will actually get you to come to court. You know, I've said before that they don't really look at things particularly closely with single justice procedure things. However, when it comes to a likely ban, then they will just write to you and say, we can't deal with this, you'll have to come to court. And you go into the witness box, you take the oath. I mean, you know, because you are giving this evidence on oath, and you just stand there and you explain. I mean, obviously, if you're lawyered up, they'll take you through it. But you can do this yourself. There's no great magic to it. And also, you've got to be careful, because if you sort of turn up with a lawyer, you're just basically advertising you got some money. And you go in the witness box and you just explain everything. You sort of say, look, here's the deal. You know, I'm self-employed. I'm responsible for a number of employees. I need to go out there. I'm the point of contact for all the sort of, you know, business things. If I'm banned, you know, there's nobody else who can drive, there's nothing else I can do. The business would collapse and all these people would be unemployed. Or, you know, I'm looking after an elderly relative, there's no alternative care, therefore I just need to be able to do this. You know, so, I mean, that's pretty much it. One thing you can do, actually, if you don't think you're going to succeed on exceptional hardship, and I do this quite a lot, is to say, well, look, instead of giving me the points, which would take me over the 12, how about just giving me a short ban now? And I've done that quite a few times. So you sort of say, look, okay, you know, this is an offence that would attract 3 points, that would make me a totter, I don't want to be a totter, how about you just ban me for 28 days, how's that? And that is something that can be done. The thing to remember about that is, you are then still on the original points, because the short ban doesn't wipe out all the rest of your points. Another thing that catches a few people out is how many points on your licence at the time of the offence. So it doesn't matter if by the time you get to court those points have evaporated, they still count. What about, oops, just come back into frame. What about, what's special reasons? Special reasons is where you are convicted of drink driving, you have to be banned for a minimum of 12 months. And usually it works, if you're just over the limit, it's 12 months. If you're 1.5 times over the limit, it's 18 months. If you're twice over the limit, it's 2 years. If you're 3 times over the limit, it's 3 years. But you can say, I'd like to plead special reasons and therefore not impose the ban. But what special reasons? Well, it's something about the offence itself. It's not anything to do with you, unlike exceptional hardship, which is what effect does it have on you personally. Special reasons is there's something about the offence. So the usual ones are, it was an emergency, I didn't drive very far, I wasn't intending to drive very far. And one that catches people out is, you sat at home, you're having a few drinks, and then somebody says, can you move the car? And you go outside to either bring your car off the road onto your driveway or move it because it's blocking somebody, and you get nicked then. Those are the sorts of things that count for special reasons. Do you take a lawyer to court with you on these things? I think the only advantage, right, I mean, again, I'm trying to do this practically. Because I remember, I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was sent along to do a drink drive for a client belonging to a friend in, a client of a mate in Chambers. He did all his business stuff. And he said, look, he's up for a drink drive, can you go along? And he was a restaurant owner. And I sort of said to him, well, what do you want to do about this? He said, well, I've got to plead guilty. I said, okay, what happened? He said, well, I'm just an idiot. He said, went to check on one of my restaurants, got chatting to the staff afterwards. They were all playing cards. I joined in. We got the beer, we got the beer out. We all had a few beers. I was stupid. I drove home. I said, well, to be perfectly frank, just go in there and say that. They love it. Magistrates love it when people actually accept responsibility for things because it's so rare. They said, no, I've paid you. You may as well go in and do it. So I went in there, said, look, my client, blah, blah, blah. As far as he's concerned, throw the book at him. He feels terrible about this. He knows he did wrong. He's got kids himself. He hates the concept of drink driving. He doesn't like the idea of drunk people. So, he's got the cognitive dissonance now of the fact that he is a drink driver and he totally hates drink driving. And the magistrates were really nice. They said, well, look, it's so rare to actually have somebody just come along and hold their hands up to it. Okay, we've got to ban him, but we'll give him the minimum 12-month ban and we'll let him do the driver rehab course, which knocks another 3 months off it. So he was on a 9-month ban. And I think that's one of the few advantages to actually instructing a lawyer when you go to court like this, because we can do the sort of mitigation for you. You can take it on the chin. So we get to stand there and say, look, as far as our client, my client is concerned, he just thinks he is as guilty as sin. He offers no excuses. He just apologises. He understands if you want to throw the book at him. However, I would be failing in my duty if I didn't point out that, for instance, the road conditions were fine. It's a well-maintained car, but for the excessive speeding, there was nothing inherently dangerous about the driving. He's got a perfect record. He does this. He does lots of work for charity. I mean, that is, I think, the one time when it's worth actually getting a lawyer, is where you want to just go in there and go, hey, it's all down to me. I just take it on the chin. I accept everything. And let the lawyer do the, oh, yes, well, just because he's saying, he's as guilty as sin, I'm allowed to sort of run all the mitigation. So there you go. What brought this on? Actually, I'm just a little art soiree at the moment, and we got talking about speeding and bans and stuff, and then it turned out I was actually talking to a magistrate. Luckily, I'd said, all the magistrates around here are really, really lovely, and I've succeeded on lots of exceptional hardship cases down here. And then she was just sitting there listening, going, yes, well, okay, yes, we are a nice bench, aren't we? So, oh, okay. But I'm actually at a place called Withiel, and this is a rather nice church. I'll do some B-roll inside the church in a second, because they've got all their sort of arty things going on at the moment. Oop, try not to trip over all the headstones. But I really like this village. One of my friends, she's got a really nice sort of art gallery and sculpture park here, and that's where I was earlier. But the village hall have got their local sort of art thing on, and yeah, it's just really, really nice. So I'll pop inside and I'll get you some B-roll of all the local art.